Hello and welcome to day 3 of Through the Fire, Understanding the Gift of Anxiety. So we are talking about the importance of human design and understanding like what our open and closed centers are. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll link a couple of reference points so that you can research that. But the importance of that, it helps you understand what in the world is happening to you. And Sherry is sharing right now one of hers. You can continue if you want and share it because I know it'd be useful for everybody.
Yeah, I have several open centers. So I have an open head, an open G center, my sacral's open, my root's open, and my heart's open. So that's a lot, that I'm getting from everywhere all the time that are not defined.
Right.
Right. So when they're defined, you can be, hi, Ronnie.
Hi, Sherry. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, how are you?
Sort of awake.
Okay.
I had a very bad night last night.
Oh, no.
Yeah. One of the first in the house. I've had like nightmares since we moved here, so I'm kind of like a little weirded out.
Well, maybe this will help.
Good.
I was just talking about human design. Are you familiar with it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what centers I have open and which are defined. And like when defined, you can go to your inner authority pretty easily and feel comfortable. But on the open ones, you have all this other information coming in all the time. So I noticed, and I looked up the questions, the not self questions for when they're open. And just one example for me is like, I have an open head. So I deal with a lot of things that don't matter all the time. Like, so if I can start thinking about, well, does that really matter? Is that mind? Should I deal with that now? Then if I can do that, maybe I can not get so upset and lost in things.
You know, the other part to having an open head center is that you also have access to all of the ideas all of the time.
I sure do. Which is good.
Is looking at the gifts of the center. So like for me, yes, looking at the shadow is important, but and there's a lot of, I think, resurgence in this idea of like, dancing with the shadow. And even I talk about it sometimes, but there's also importance in looking at the gifts, because sometimes we will live our whole life with what's wrong with us and with all of that shadow stuff. Don't
Right.
ever know what the gifts of something are. So it's really important to look at, when we're looking at shadow pieces, like the way about it, right? Having all of that overwhelm, the gift of that is that you get all the ideas, right? And so
information, yeah.
Huge. So when you get overwhelmed, and this is true with any of the centers that are open, is but particularly the head, I would say in this case, when you feel like I'm focusing on things that don't matter. Okay, great, but I have access to the things that do. What matters for me? Tuning. And I'd say, like, in general, regardless of open head or not, part of what anxiety does, right? Most of us, we talked the last couple of days, we've talked about how it presents in different ways for everyone. But part of what it is that insubstantiated fear. Fear is a big part of anxiety, right? That low level sort of buzzing sometimes even. And I think tapping into to what do we do know, right? So anyway, go ahead.
Well, another one, for instance, is not being good enough.
Yeah.
And telling yourself constantly that you're not good enough, or you don't have the same things as other people. Or another one, like if you're embarrassed all the time, one of the open centers is, am I drawing attention to myself? Too much attention. And so that's making me uncomfortable because I'm drawing too much attention. And like I used to have a lot of trouble talking, like in a situation like, and I still do sometimes, because I don't want to draw attention to myself to pull up judgment maybe, or to pull up, yeah, and then feeling that, oh, that was really stupid. Why did I say that? You know, that kind of stuff.
I think that, so today what I really wanted to talk about is like, what do we do, right? What are we really, because we've talked about a lot of the whys and all of that. And today is really like, okay, so what's next, right? How do we live with this? What do we do? And I love that you're saying that, because once we are understanding what's going on with us, once we have, determined, are these chemistry issues, this is something that requires, everyone's different. For some people, absolutely, there's chemistry going on that will trigger things that are not happening, and not real in the sense there's not an actual danger. I don't mean not real as in you're making it up, right? So once we've determined that, once we've just determined, okay, is it my psychic abilities being overwhelmed? Is it, chemistry? Is it, do I need this support? Understanding, where we are, right? And getting the support that we need. Then the next part is starting to look at the pieces that need to be healed, because something like feeling, if I speak, then what if people think I'm too much? What if they're all of those things, can be looked at and healed, because they aren't really true, because people actually don't care if you talk too much. And if they do, that's something unhealed within them, because it's triggering a magnet for them that it's like that they don't matter. But that's not true either, right? And so we're responsible for what we do with our magnets.
Right. Our triggers.
Really we should be kind, connected humans, period, is my deep, deep belief. But after that, right? That's a huge after that. But that truly, like, when we're connected and kind, if we're able to be rooted and connected and enough to where kindness matters, which is different than being nice, by the way, then we can only be responsible for our own magnets. And that's like, okay, so I feel this way. I feel like, I should stay small because it is safe. And step on like this landmine thing with the staying small, because that's a whole nother topic in and of itself. But anyway, whatever it is, like you said, the talking too much. And for me, that's something that resonates a lot with me, because I was always told that I talked too much from the time I was a child.
Or too loud. I was always too loud.
For me personally, it was too much. It wasn't, I'm not very loud personally. But yes, as a whole, yeah, absolutely. The too much, too loud, too often, the whatever. And we get these things. And so what's really beautiful and interesting is that we come in, this is a little bit my personal cosmology, but it's a little my experience too. We come into these experiences as this particular human being, right? Differentiated in this way. So first we've just differentiated as a soul. As from all of the collective, we've differentiated as this particular soul, which has this makeup, blah, 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 blah. This job to do, so to speak, right? And then this soul incarnates. And why is it incarnating where it does, right? And understanding, like, if we're incarnating in this experience, our main responsibility, besides being kind, is like looking at those magnets, or the pieces, like, why is this, how does this serve me too, is something that really helpful, right? Again, sometimes it's as simple as, okay, it's a chemistry issue. How does this serve me? It means I learn how to ask for help. It means I learned that medication's not all bad. It means, right? Or if there's just so much to it. And this isn't at all like that we deserve bad things, or that's not at all what I'm saying. It's just understanding, how does this serve me in my path? How do I get to utilize this, right? And sorry, I had a message come through and it disrupts my train of thought. But that's what I would say in general, is looking, once we've established the basics of what kind of support do we need, then we're looking at daily, like, when things pop up, is this true? That inner dialogue is really important. Like,
Right.
like once we, I think on the first day, the homework was for everybody to look at, establish their sort of rescue plan, so to speak, when you're feeling anxious. are the things that you do and go to. Like, okay, you check your basic stuff. And first you say, okay, I'm okay. We're going to figure out what's going on. That's the first step, truly, right? Sometimes the first step is removing yourself from excess stimuli.
Right.
So type of person that is, that you know that you can become overstimulated because you have a lot of open centers, because you're on the spectrum, because whatever, all of the things in the world. If you know that you are prone to becoming overstimulated, I would say that is the first thing to do. Am I overstimulated? Yes. Remove yourself from the situation.
Right.
Have a way to do that. And, sometimes we say, well, we're not able to. Well, unless you're on a boat in the middle of nowhere, there's always ways.
Yeah, well, you can even meditate or start to breathe differently, or you could separate yourself.
Having too much stimuli, for some people, that's not going to do anything. They need to be removed from the stimuli, period.
Right.
Person. So some people would be able to connect and meditate in that moment. Other people, they need to remove the stimuli, period. So know that about yourself. If you're the type of person, then have your life set up in that way, where you yourself can either leave, like let's say you're at the opera and you get overwhelmed, you can get up and leave. Right. And learning that that's okay. And, if it's just you, then you get up and you go. If you have a partner or friends or whatever, like start to cultivate that. Like, I need to honor myself and this is what works for me. Like right now, no, I can't go to the store with you because I'm overwhelmed. I need to just rest.
Right.
And working through those pieces, I think are tremendously important. Yeah. So that's that part about, but once we figure out and are clear about if that's us or not, then the next step is like that rescue plan of like, okay, I'm feeling, what is it? Is this overwhelming? Is it low level? Is it a hum? Is it a scream? Where am I at? Right. Just this little self-assessment, like, hang on a second. I noticed this. How am I doing? Right. And then everyone's going to be different, but something that's helpful is what is your basic stuff? Because if you are within the category of people who've noticed that sometimes your anxiety is an alert system, the first thing you're going to do is this feeling something I need to do about? Is this mine? Right.
Right.
If it's mine. All right. Is it an alert? Yes. Okay. Well, what do I need to look at? What are my basics? For me, I shared with you all, I check my bank account. No. I check to make sure everything looks good. I check my emails just to make sure, because I've taught my system that that's something that's important to me. So it will alert me.
Yeah.
So that's why I could change that if I wanted, but I kind of like knowing when I need to take care of my stuff. So that's what I do that. And then I check on my parents. I usually, if I've spoken to my mother-in-law or not, because I speak to her often, I just check the basics. Am I home with my kids? Are the kids fine? And when I've kind of calmed that down enough, then I can start to do actual self-inquiry deeper, because I've done the regular human stuff. So I can concretely know, and then, okay, so what do I need to do about this? Like what would help me right now? Is this energetic? Is it spiritual? Is it my body? Do I need to rest? Like, what are these things that need to happen? Right. That self-inquiry is really huge, but the step you're going to do is really like that rescue plan of what do you need, which it identifying if it's yours, going through basic human stuff of what are the most important things to me to know that are okay right now. Right. Which is basically your family.
Right.
I mean, that's a big one. And then whatever else it is for you, whether it's finances, whether it's whatever it is that kind of wherever you're at, right? Maybe it's returning a phone call, maybe it's whatever it is, right? The other thing that I want to say, because I know a lot of people who are in my sphere are also like business people and that sort of thing. And even if you're not, like I can feel when people talk about me. So that is quite common. We're just not aware of it. And so sometimes keeping our side of the street clean, like keeping our commitments up to date, is really important, because that sometimes can be something that comes up. Okay. Because sometimes we drop the ball, period. As human beings, we do that. You know, I'm not dropping the ball. Sometimes we do. We're imperfect. And so that is something like, even for me, like that is something that I check. Like, is there something that I need to resolve
Right. Right.
of some kind, right? And this isn't about being bad or like whatever. It's simply like taking care of your stuff. What is this input for, basically? And this, after we've identified, is this simply overwhelm? Because simply overwhelm, it is. I know I'm saying it's simple, but sometimes it is. We just need to remove the stimuli, period. But then after that, you're looking at what is going on here? What do I need to do? Do I need to just sit at the beach, stare at the ocean for 3 hours? Do I need to go for a walk in the forest? Do I need to, disconnect? Do I need to be around my friends and my family? Like, do I need to draw? Do I need to blah, 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 whatever it is, right?
Yeah, the Epsom salt bath that you talked about last night. It was like, oh my gosh, maybe that's what I need.
Yeah. Epsom salt baths are huge. That's a really big thing, especially for those of us who are having like a lot of spiritual stimuli, energetic stimuli. Clearing our field is huge, and that can be done through meditation. Oh my gosh, I'm so itchy today. Can be done usually when I'm channeling and stuff. My nose, like I'll sneeze or I'll like be super itchy. Anyway, so really, gosh, what was I saying now? Because I stopped the flow.
You were talking about cleansing.
Tell me again.
You were talking about cleansing your field.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So cleansing the field is huge because it helps shift things for you. So doing things like the Epsom salt bath, doing meditation, grounding, huge, right? And grounding is different for every person. You know what that means. Sometimes it's literally sticking your feet in the ground, right? Or in the snow, as the case may be.
No snow today.
Oh, good. The sand and the whatever, right? And sometimes it's actually, connecting to the core of the earth, connecting to, our mother in a way, right? Like, and that's something that has been coming up a lot for me lately. This beautiful realization is that, our experience as human beings isn't just about that connection with one another to other humans. We're corporeal in this physical existence. The exchange that we have with the planet in which we reside, this being in which we reside on, I think that that's really powerful. And so for some of us, we're kind of more sensitive to that than others. And so connecting in that way to the earth can be really powerful, whatever it is that let's see.
Yeah, I can really improve my well-being when I go outside, and I get dirty, plant something, talk to the trees, look at the leaves, just experience the season and all the changes that have happened.
Yeah.
And relate to that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And but when we're ready, that next step of understanding, connecting to our season, but also knowing that it's also the opposite season at the same time, right? Somewhere in the world.
Yes, it's amazing.
For that, I don't know, the permanence of it all. I don't know. Anyway, but as far as the anxiety, what else did we want to cover? Did anybody have any questions or thoughts? Because I know I think all of you have done the last 2 days so far. So. Anything? No.
You've given a lot of really good information, which I think is
good.
Yes. And the self-inquiry that you talk about, Mary's book has helped me a lot with that.
Which one?
The Diva.
The Body Deva, yeah, that one's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any of the others yet, so.
Oh, yeah. So that's, she's referencing Mary Mueller-Schutan. She's one of my teachers, and she's really phenomenal. Her books, she's a very prolific writer. I think she's published one book a year for the last several years.
Yeah.
they're all great. The Body Deva is a great resource in terms of like for this, when we're talking about, connecting to our anxiety, releasing it, experiencing it differently. And like I said, like I don't identify that way anymore. When I was younger, absolutely. I was an anxious hot mess. And now, like, because I'm in a different space, I just don't identify with the word for a lot of reasons. But anyway, the Body Deva is a great resource to just start to understand going deeper in the healing, somatic way.
You talk about the healing. So this morning, about 4 a.m., I woke up from a terrible nightmare about my parents dying. And I've already done the checklist. Okay, it was the first thing I did is I text my mom because I know she gets up very early, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she says, "Yes." But it was pretty vivid, very intense, and I said, why don't you guys be on the lookout this week? Just be careful when you're going out driving, because I wasn't sure if it was one of my short-term premonitions either. But it left me in a state, even after I've done the checklist, even after I've done everything, in a state of sadness and anxiety about when's this going to pass through? When's this going to pass through? When's this going to pass through? And I sat and I looked at, by the way, my oak tree is just starting to get its redness on it. So it's really, really pretty right now. And so I kind of sat there and I did kind of my own, regrounding with it. But I still have this very deep sadness and this anxiety sits right at the top of my chest. How do you heal that? I mean, because I think it's because I'm afraid of losing my parents, which is hard on anybody. And I'm here and they're there. And so how do you, after you've done all the checklists and it's still holding you, what's the healing part that I can work on? Because I think this morning, this is where I'm stuck.
Yeah, I think that some things in life are inevitabilities, right?
I know that, but it still hurts.
Oh, yes. I know. I think that the older that we get, the closer to inevitabilities become. And as we get closer to those inevitabilities, whether it's ourselves or our parents, it's really hard because we can feel it in our body, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it, one thing, I think for the healing piece, I like to connect to the sun's golden light. That helps just calm it down. Especially something like this, that it is a fear that is a real thing. Being afraid of when you have to deal with that, because one day you will, period. And that's why I said the part about the inevitability is that we all obviously hope that it is peaceful and it is a long time from now, right? But regardless of that, it's still, especially everyone's different. So for some people, those sorts of things are more traumatic than others for a million reasons, right? What I'd say is this is for the rational mind, after you do your golden light, after your grounding, is answering that question of, I think you said something along the lines is, well, when is this going to happen, right? Is the knowing the answer to that question going to change the way in which you grieve or the way in which you feel?
Yeah.
Will it change the pain if you knew it was tomorrow or 10 years from now or 20 or 30 years from now? Will it be less pain by knowing?
No.
Yeah. So sometimes for me, when that's the answer, it's like, you know what? Then I need to just release it. I don't need to know because it makes no difference. What do I know right now? What I know right now is that I got to text my mom, right? And that she was okay. And that's it. And I know that it's a simplification of something really big.
No, I get what you mean about the simplification, because it's making the mountain out of the molehill. I mean, it really is. It's working myself up into a tizzy where I felt it's like, that doesn't really matter. If something happens, something's going to happen. I mean, I can't stop it. I may have a premonition about it. You know, like I did give them the be careful driving this week, please. And that may have changed the whole outcome. But but you're right. It's letting that it's the inevitable is going to happen, you know, and it's about that worry of the future, worry of the past. You're right.
Yeah, and it's not things to especially when we have the ability to know things before they happen. It's allowing for things to be in the timeline that they're in and for us to be in the timeline that we are. Right? And the point in time which we are experiencing. In a way, everything is happening all at once. All time is occurring at the same time, right? So there's that. So where are you choosing to put your consciousness? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think that those are the things, and that's the kind of thing. So I used to do a lot of fertility work and work with moms, you know, through their pregnancies and all of that. And when a woman has a child for a long time, one of two things happen. There is a tremendous amount of fear during the pregnancy. If she is, you know, carrying and isn't adopting or anything like that. There's a tremendous amount of fear, or they're completely disconnected from the life that they're creating. They don't even think about it at all. It's just like, yep. And they go to the appointments and they do what they have to do and they eat well, but it's complete disconnect. And yeah, because there's this protection, right? So one of the things I say is, because they're, you know, one of the fears is, well, what if something happens? Well, I can tell you for sure, connecting or not connecting is not going to change the pain of something, period.
Yeah.
Only thing that changes is when we connect, when we decide to choose joy, when we decide to choose love for anything. We get to have that right now versus preventing the hurt, because there is nothing in this anything that we can do to prevent hurt. We just can't. It is what it is. The only thing we can do is how do we thrive through it? How do we survive? How do we, you know, are we self-supported? Are we, you know, all we have also is the joy, the love we were willing to accept and receive in the moment.
Yeah. The more you love, the more pain, almost.
Yeah, I really do agree with that.
I don't think that
more open and
yeah.
Sherry, you're saying you think the more that you love, the more pain that there is?
For me,
nope.
I lost my dad very early to suicide, and which was totally unexpected. And my mom lived for a really long time, but I had to go through hospice with her.
Yeah.
So, and what I was thinking, Ronnie, when you were talking, was the things that helped me. And one of the things that really helped me after my father's death, and all through the years, because I would revisit that pain too, was journaling. And also feeling the pain, totally allowing the pain to go through me, feel it, cry, get upset, you know, brawl, do whatever it took to feel it as much as I could and accept it. But I don't know that worked for me.
Well, I planned on doing something with Tuesday's Thoughts to push out. I like to walk the walk and walk the talk. And I'm going to share with people in my group, in their interventions group, about, you know, sometimes sticky things really stick. I mean, like you're saying, it is the inevitable. It is going to happen. There's no, you know, like they say, death and taxes. Those are two things you can always guarantee. There's nothing going to change that. I like to change taxes. So sick of them. So sick of them. But yeah, especially tax week. This is hell week. Especially for us that are trying to figure out how to find every nickel and dime to make it so it's not pain. But you're right. And I haven't grieved the fact I've moved across the country away from my parents. That's something that I want to kind of look at, if this is augmenting or adding to that already existing layer of, I moved, I accepted the fact my brother's going to live with them. I moved because we're going to be closer to Dan's folks. But I gave up that ability to immediately take care of my parents, immediately go up and see my parents.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some journaling, trust me.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things to do, which I really do experience. And yeah, I know, Alexis, I was kind of looking for a simple answer, but I guess there really isn't a simple answer to this because it is so intense. But the golden light, I did the sun, and it's beautiful today, girl. It is so spring here. This is the first time in 23 years I've actually had a spring. California, the Bay Area doesn't have a spring. It has summer and winter kind of sort of is not really winter, but kind of just more rain of summer.
Sure.
So.
Well, it's nice to have us.
Oh, I know.
So the other thing I wanted to say just briefly, because I want to reiterate that, for me, I do agree with when something has happened already, when we're experiencing something already, experiencing all the feelings. But I don't really advocate too much living in the feelings of something that's going to happen. Right? Because that's totally different because the thing hasn't happened yet. And so doing that doesn't change how we're going to feel afterward because now we have to do it all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the big, I don't think at all or love, I don't think, so the less love, less pain.
Right.
True,
Yeah, I guess not.
So loves their parents so they stop talking to them because one day they're going to die and that'll help them not feel it. That's preposterous. That doesn't even make sense. It's just all you're doing is losing out on that love and that joy that you could have, right?
Right now. Yeah.
It's not, let's say somebody works for a company and they know that when the owners retire, they're going to close the company. And it's a great company and everybody loves working together and it's heart-centered and it's just this beautiful thing. Does that mean you dwell every day for the next 10 years knowing that one day the company's going to close and not allow any joy? Because if you don't like work, then that means it'll hurt less. No, it's not. It's just not. That's silly. All we're doing is keeping ourselves from love and joy we could be experiencing right now. Well, one day robs us of joy that we could experience right now, and it does not save us from pain.
Mm-hmm.
So what else? So yes, feeling the feelings, where are we at? We went through self-inquiry. Something else I wanted to talk about that is really helpful with anxiety. Once we've determined, do we need medication? Do we need this? Do we need that? Is looking into somebody who can provide Chinese medicine, Chinese formula for you. Chinese medicine is beautiful at balancing the system, thus alleviating symptoms, right? Because you're not just alleviating the symptoms, you're going to the root and balancing the patterns within the person. The other thing that's really, really cool for anxiety and other psycho-emotional type stuff is flower essences.
Yeah, right.
Flower are magic for that kind of stuff, and it's energy medicine, so it's not going to interact with any medications that people are on, and it's the insubstantial part of the flower. It's that energetic signature, and it's really beautiful how flower essences, which are different than essential oils, by the way, how they're really able to gently heal patterns to their root. Like a good flower essence blend that is custom made for somebody can heal stuff like ancestrally and past life wise, which is really amazing. There aren't very many ingestibles, right, that are going to do that for you. And this is the kind of thing when it's done well, it can work wonders and shift things for a person. All right.
I have to go.
All right.
Yeah. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate your time and what you've done. And nice to meet you, Ronnie.
Nice to meet you too, Sherry. Like your room.
Oh, thank you. It's my little haven in here. Okay, dears, bye.
Bye.
It's not. All right. So does Danica, do you have any questions or thoughts? I know sometimes you can't talk. Okay. So I think we've covered most of the things. It's fine. Fine. Okay. She says she's good. Thank you. All right. So we covered. I'll put some additional resources in the group. Can you lower it just a little bit? So where to learn more about human design, where to learn more about flower essences, the Chinese medicine stuff, which I do all that kind of stuff too. But what else? I think that, our toolkit, right? Going down our list. Support is huge. I think that's it. So what I want to do for all of us is I'd like to do a healing transmission specifically for anxiety. Okay, so we'll do that and then we will wrap up the call, okay? So let's get into a nice comfortable position. 1 second. Adeline, I'm gonna do an energy healing. Can you put it on just for a minute? Okay, do you want to do it with us? You just listen to my words and you feel the energy. Okay, ready? All right, nice deep breath. Beautiful golden light above your head. Gently coming down over your face, over the back of your head, down your neck and your throat, across your shoulders and arms and hands, and your chest, your back, down each and every vertebrae. Nice deep breath. Across your abdomen, your low back, across your bottom, your pelvis, your hips, your upper legs, your knees, lower legs, ankles, and feet. This beautiful golden light is coating each and every cell in your body. It's soaking into all your neurons, soaking into each and every system of your body. It's allowing for there to be space created, for there to be healing, any patterns that are holding us back, any patterns that are causing unnecessary anxiety. Nice deep breath. This beautiful golden light is allowing for us to have clarity of purpose and clarity of the direction to go to help ease ourselves and have beautiful ease and grace in our life. One last deep breath. You can open your eyes when you're ready. All right, that was so good. All right, everyone. So thank you for joining me, and thank you to our replay viewers, all of those of you who are watching the recording. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the Facebook group. If anyone would like to do a testimonial, I deeply appreciate it. We have lots of fun stuff going on. We have, what do we have? The expansion principle, energy healing modality, the practitioner training, that's going on. So if anybody has interest in that, the beautiful thing about that is when you become attuned to these energies, it does shift things. And I think that that's one of the biggest reasons why what used to be chronic anxiety doesn't really exist in that way for me anymore. And then also the Chinese medicine stuff and the flower essences, those are all things that I do. So reach out if you want more information about working together with that. And I think that is all of the things. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Does anybody have anything else right now?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'll see everybody later somewhere, right?
Bye. Thank you again.